That's ragu meat. I mean, I hope not. I hope you don't, you know.
This is the Escape Podcast for Star Wars The Old Republic. This week, we're bringing in another guest. Can you believe that? It's one of our guild members, BC, who is the master of Conquest spreadsheets. I think we've mentioned him plenty of times in the past. We wanted to get him on, and we're going to bring him in. We're going to talk about Conquest. We're going to talk about his spreadsheet and how that gets put together. And for fun, we're going to run Directive 7 while we do that. This broadcast aspect is EPC 242. And playing alongside me is Seema. Hi, Seema. How's it going? Seema?
Dang it, I forgot I was using push to talk. So I was talking along. Yes, I'm doing well, except for forgetting push to talk. I was just saying that the weather's been really beautiful this week. We've had a little bit of rain, but it's still spring, so that's good. Tonight we just finished with MFN and we went into Ravagers, it's just one of those nights where it was just a lot of fun, where everybody was in a happy, rambunctious mood, and we killed a few things, not everything, but then we quit a little bit early to go over to Iocath because we were going to try and kill the classes there, but he did not show up for us. But we did manage to manufacture a little mayhem of our own there and did the Rampage 1, 2, 3. So we did scrape some Conquest points out of the evening, and yeah, we had a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I don't know why it did not show up, but we were there for a while. We were there for about 20 minutes. It shows up in one of two spots, and we were in two different maps, but we could just not find it. I don't know what we were doing wrong. But that is, you're right, that was pretty fun. And as I mentioned, with us as well is our guest for tonight, BC. Hey, BC, Brian Kavanaugh, B Kavanaugh, as we like to call you. How's it going, and what have you been up to?
Hey, Max. Hey, Seema. Thanks for having me. I've been having a lot of fun.
Did I say Brian? Sorry, Brendan.
That's fine. That's fine. At least you didn't call me Zan, right?
I did not, which I've been doing all pre-show. I kept calling him Zan. We don't have guests on very long, so you know how this goes. Is I have one guest on, and all my notes are screwed up, and I will call everybody Zen for forever.
I don't mind. Zen's a pretty cool guy. I've been having a lot of fun in game. I got 4 tunes to Conquest Gold last week, so I earned lots of charged matter transubstantiators.
Nice.
And then ran the Anathema Flashpoint a couple times, once on the pub side, once on the imp side, which I enjoyed the story, enjoyed the mechanics. I really liked the second boss, like Max talked about last week. And then I've been running a lot of dailies, because of the double CXP event, lots of CXP.
Excellent.
How about you, Max?
Well, thank you for asking. Another joke we had going around in pre-show. I also got to Conquest target on 4 characters, all on the Republic side, because that was the target for last week. That's where we were focused. It made me dig up one of my characters, which was a Sage. So I did it on a few different characters. I did it on my Commando. I did it on my Vanguard. I did it on I forgot which other 2. So maybe it was one of my Imperial ones. Maybe it was my Mercenary. And then the Sage was only level 67. So just in doing enough of the greed dailies and the kill quest to get the conquest points to get the target on that character, I also got that character to 70 and a handful of command ranks. So that was fun too. And certainly was doing quite a bit of Nathema. And in fact, when we did our AIE podcast and on Sunday and talked to Tetsemi and the crew there, I did a stream afterwards because we had SWTOR on the AIE podcast. I'm doing a Sunday night stream which features the kinds of games we're talking about on the official AIE podcast. And in there, we ran Nathema again. So it was a few of us running Nathema. So I ran Nathema probably 3 or 4 times so far, just over the since its launch. Yeah, we ran it in Master, we ran it in Veteran, and we ran it in solo story mode, and I did. And I've gotten quite a few of the prizes, so I was very surprised and delighted by all of the stuff that's been dropping in that Flashpoint. Tons of different decorations.
All the decos.
Yeah. How many did you get so far? In fact, I think I have them mostly on this character. So
I mean,
like
And I was happy to
at
get the
least 8 or 9
companion drop
unique
too.
ones. Yes. So I got the companion drop early. Then during the flashpoint with you and me in Appalus on Sunday, Appalus got it off one of the early bosses, and then we lucked out and it dropped again on the last boss. So
Yes.
each of us ended up with one by the end of that, which was really cool. So, yep, that was fun. And of course, Mandatory Fun Night was certainly fun as well. That's always a highlight. And even though we didn't find the Colossus, I don't mind just doing a little bit of a hunt. And people did get Conquest targets done because the Iocath Rampage, which involves killing 50, 100, or 150 mobs on Iocath, was something we could just sort of do while we were waiting around. We've done that multiple times on MFN where we just go off and find something to shoot. And it doesn't matter what it
Right.
is. If we're all together and we're shooting things, it tends to work out pretty well. So that's nice.
Yeah, I mean the Rampage ones are pretty good for getting conquest points, but they're always more fun in a group.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Going around and killing 150 things by yourself can feel a little bit slow and grindy. So that was what I was doing, and yes, thanks BC for showing an interest in my in my activities for the week. And with that, I
My
think we
eyes
can
are
talk
rolling.
we can talk about some news.
Now, an Imperial News Network report.
Again this week, not too much news. We've got Eric Musco, who's still out. Hopefully he'll be back soon and spike up our news cycle again. But we did get a couple things that showed up. One, we got an announcement that there's going to be some server downtime coming on Thursday for 5.9a patch. And that update, we won't find out what the details are until tomorrow, or probably by the time that you hear this podcast if you're not listening live. However, with the 5.9a designation, I'm expecting it's just a small bug fix kind of patch. That's what that typically means. So we'll find out soon.
And then Keith also posted that the drop rate of the schematics is intended, and they're not planning to lower it. In other words, they're not planning to make them more rare. It's not a mistake that people are getting them pretty easily. And yeah, so I mean, the patch note said master mode, that they drop only for master mode, but we found that they are dropping in all the modes. And so I'm kind of reading between the lines to hear him say the drop rate does not technically mean mode, but I guess that's what they mean, that they're going to continue to drop in all the modes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's very clear that they drop in all the modes. Everyone's gotten them in many modes. They are
Just
dropping.
listen to General.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that's dropping in all the modes, apparently it seems to be a rule. As soon as the companion actually drops for you, you need to post in general, and you need to link it in general chat and say, "Oh, OMG, I got this companion." Apparently it's required because
Well,
it
don't say
happens
anything, just link it.
it happens about every 90 seconds, and someone links it in general chat because they got it. So there you go. But yeah, it's those schematics are dropping. A ton of them are dropping. Some people did start selling them early and were able to make lots of credits off of them, over 1 million credits early. I've seen a bunch of them down to 100K credits already, and I would expect that they're going to be relatively worthless very soon. One thing I notice that sort of bugs me with that, by the way, is I do a lot of searching for the augments so I can see what the current market price is when I'm listing the augments that I'm creating, which I did create a lot in the past few days. Make hay while the sun shines. However, the schematics also sort when you search on the augment name. So then I have to sort by unit price and then scroll past 3 pages of schematics before I get to the lowest price augment, so I know what to list my augments for 1 credit less than.
Even if you shift click on the augment, it does that?
Yes. Yeah. Because the schematic says schematic : that exact name.
Right.
So it shows up in the list, which it's becoming very annoying to me. I used to have a much less clicking to get the lowest price of the augments in the past. Regardless, that is that. The only other thing I'm calling out in the news is there was a interesting little Reddit thread. So I'm calling out a Reddit thread of the week in the SWTOR subreddit. And it's a pretty detailed post about someone who did some clever hacking to get, hacking in terms of configuring to get SWTOR running on Linux. I am not a big Linux user. I I worked for Microsoft for 13 years, so I'm pretty Windows loyal. But it's useful for a lot of people that are running Linux. If you wanted to try to check it out, I guess it's a combination of I forgot which distro he put it on, but then he used Wine, and then there's a layer on top of Wine called Play on Linux, which is a Python layer, which puts a GUI on top of Wine that makes it easier to run games. And through a combination, setting some configurations and working through all of that, Wine plus Play on Linux, he was able to get SWTOR running on Linux, which I guess there's read the thread. Potentially, there's some pros to doing it. The
just heard
cons are that you
Wine.
have to run and Wine. So yes, there you go. But you can check that out. In Guild news, I guess I don't have to talk too much about spreadsheet updates this week. We will be talking about that soon. But certainly the most updated spreadsheet is still pinned in our Guild Discord, so keep an eye out for that. What else is up in Guild news, Seema?
Just want to say that next week, May 15th, MFN will be on the M side. And focus this week for Conquest is also on the M side.
Yes. So we usually do 2 weeks Imperial, then switch over for 1 week Republic, because that tends to be about the balance we've got in our Guild.
And we did set the M side for the medium target this week, so the M side will get its chance at the CMTs.
Yes. So we'll talk about it soon, about easy and hard and what it's going to look like this week and what our paths to Conquest are, won't we, BC? All right.
will.
So, Kemval, what are we up to this week with BC? Where are we going to drag him?
Jinasiwe ja alaize nam na dize. Ustapaim ICJ in alam is frumadine habans.
Oh, that was a pretty long way to say Directive 7, but but that sounds good there, Kemval. I wish I could see how they do that voice acting. Someone said, I think it was with the Dashad voice language, that it's like a modulated version of Hungarian or something. They were able to find some root language in the sounds that were being used and put together, and then worked on to come up with that voice language, which is pretty cool. Directive 7. Why are we doing Directive 7, BC?
Because Directive 7 is a Conquest objective this week.
All right, so let's zone in and get started. We're going to do it on easy mode, so it makes it easier for us to talk, and we don't have to concentrate too hard. Because we certainly want to talk about two things. One is the updates to Conquest, and as you put it, BC, I liked how you phrased it, which was sort of the new meta of around how Conquest works. And two is your spreadsheet in particular, and what that looks like, and how you put it together, and some of the tricks and tips for how you're working it in terms of your Python script and things like that I wanted to hear more about. So let's zone in here, and to kick it off, BC, why don't you start with it for us and talk about what your view is of the new world of Conquest and how things have changed.
Yeah, one of the things that I like that you talked about on a previous podcast is just that instead of it being a guild versus guild activity, it's now a guild versus target activity. So the way it used to work, everyone probably remembers, is you had to be in the top 10 and everyone would be sweating until early Monday morning. And instead now we can plan ahead how we're going to hit the medium yield or the high yield. And then once we hit it, we're guaranteed the rewards. I just much prefer that sort of approach.
I like that too, because I realize that on like Saturday, Sunday, Monday, if our guild has already hit our target, I can continue to do Conquest if I want to for my own goals, but I don't have to like think in the back of my mind, well, I should be doing Conquest for the good of my guild. I can freely decide whether I want to do it or not.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. It's if we make the target, then we've made it early. But and if you think about it, the biggest issue that we had was, while it was exciting, it was very easy to get into a situation where things were down to the wire and you're trying to get in the top 10 and you had to be going strong like Sunday night or maybe even like at 6 a.m. Monday morning, and you're messing around trying to see if you're going to get the target, and it's nerve-wracking because maybe you put in a ton of effort throughout the week to get there, and maybe you're not going to make it. So yeah, I really like having the new system as well to be able to hit the target and pick the target, make a plan, and go after that plan. And then that whole process of making a plan, that's also been really fun. So our guild has been coming together. BC, you sort of helping take the lead on that, and people like Zen and Sakic talking about what's possible and what the paths are. And so why don't you tell a little bit about sort of what you posted in Discord this morning about the plan, and if we should go for a medium, and the calculations you were doing to tell us what it would take.
Yeah, so last week we hit the medium target, and this week, so part of it was just talking about the way that this week is a little bit different. So last week, for example, there were a few objectives, killing a couple of world bosses who may or may not have been disguised as random mobs, and killing xenoanalysts. And you could get to a conquest goal on a toon just by completing those 3 objectives. So I think in the first half hour of MFN last week, we had 16 people who were already at goal, and there's nothing like that this week. There's also no repeatable crafting. Last week you could craft invasion forces once a day, and this week there's nothing like that. So it's a little bit harder, but then there's other ways. So I know Tet from the guild has already hit goal on 1 toon because he just went through all of the dailies on Hoth, completed all the rampage objectives, killing droids on Iakath. So there's usually a few different paths to goal, and one of the things we can probably chat a bit more about with the spreadsheet is just the way that it helps you to sort of plan out your different paths to goal. And
so I think you said
that's going to be different every week.
I think you said a total of 37 characters need to hit a personal goal, and the average of the personal goal for the guild to make the medium guild target for this week. Is that sound right?
Yep.
So
was that 37 with the stronghold bonus, or
yeah,
or base?
Is that with full stronghold
37
bonus, or?
people just getting the 15,000.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Or with or without
Yeah.
the stronghold
Yeah,
bonus?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. 37 characters. So it could be one person with 37 characters, or
Right.
or four people with 7 to 10 characters. But with the way it's going, well, you both probably looked at it. What is it realistic to shoot for the number of characters? Like, what are you going to shoot for this week in terms of number of characters you're going to try to take to target? BC, what about you?
I'll probably do 2.
Two to target?
One. Yeah, I'll do one that does one sort of lower level character that does a bunch of the heroics, and then the level 70 I'll do Iakath and everything. Probably
Okay.
run some flashpoints. It's
Sounds
pretty
good.
easy to get a couple of tunes to goal, but above that it gets harder this week.
I think I'm going to do 2 also, because I've gotten, after activities of today, this afternoon, and MFN, I'm 2/3 of the way on this Merc here. And then, like BC said, I'll take one of my characters that I'm leveling and do, stuff for the rest of the, for their points.
Yeah. One little side note. So this is Directive 7, and weird droid stuff is going on here. That little moment that we just had there, we clicked on a munitions pile, it blew up, and it blew down this huge tower, which then fell across this waterway and opens up a path for you to get through to the next zone. I like that. I just find that pretty cool. That's a nice little addition to what's going on here. I like those kinds of things in flashpoints or operations. All right, so I'll have to look at mine. I'll probably do, I was thinking at least 2, but if you are both focusing on 2, then I'm probably going to end up with 2 as well, because I don't tend to. I mean, you guys are doing at least as much, if not more, than me typically. So that sounds good. Which means then that we'll have to try to get, 18, 19 people doing 2 each. So we'll have to help our guildies, which is something we do, to make sure everybody can get those targets. Ravagers is one of the objectives, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we did some of Ravagers tonight. We could beg our ops leader to potentially do that on Thursday night and get some more points that way for the group. Finish up Ravagers. That's definitely something we can do to add in some more points. So as you were planning, that brings us to how you're going about planning how many characters you're going to take to target. Why don't you talk a little bit about your spreadsheet, BC? We've mentioned it. In fact, I'll bring it up and show it while we're talking. But talk about what it is, how you put it together, and who it's for, and how they're supposed to use it. Let's start there. Who is it for, and how you're supposed to use it?
It's really for anyone who's interested in running Conquest and just wants to take a bit more of a methodical approach and plan out their week ahead of time. It's designed to be pretty user-friendly, so you just sort of follow the steps that are in the spreadsheet. And the first one you can see is just putting in your stronghold bonus so that you know what bonus you'll get. And then the second step is to write down how many tunes you're planning to run Conquest on. And then after that, you just fill in the completions column, how many times you want to complete particular objectives. And you can just experiment a little. So you could play around with, I'm going to do Iacath and I'm going to do the Hoth Heroics and see what that adds up to. You can plan out the path to goal based on just wanting to do solo activities or just wanting to do PvP or whatever sort of gameplay you enjoy. And that way you don't get into a situation on Saturday where you suddenly find out that you've done the wrong activities and it's going to be really hard to get to goal.
You can't get to goal unless you decide to do GSF or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, like what I tend to do is I tend to put in like a couple of the big chunk things. Like I think, okay, we're probably going to do an operation or we're probably going to do XYZ. And then I start putting in, okay, if I do one heroic mission and one rampage each day, what is that going to put me at? And if I go way over 15K for one character, then I start ratcheting them down until I know exactly how many I have to do to get to the goal, and then that gives me an idea whether I think I can comfortably do another character.
Interesting. So yeah, I was showing the spreadsheet here on the screen, and it's designed for individual players to then figure that out. So it's designed sort of for that personal Conquest target, and it's really nice because it does that math for you, and you can sort of do the what if scenarios. You put in your stronghold bonus, you put in your number of characters right here. He says step 1, step 2, step 3, and then edit the completions. How many times you can complete it, and he puts in here and he tells you if it's repeatable, if it's daily repeatable or unlimited. So just make sure you're not, you can't put in 2 for a non-repeatable activity. But then it'll calculate and add up all your total points, and it'll tell you if you make it to your personal goal or not. And since it says 2 characters here, then the personal goal is 30K. It tells you if you're complete or not based on what you're sort of putting in and trying.
The spreadsheet actually knows if you can only do it once. Like if you try to put
really?
it in twice, if you put in 2, it'll say rounding down to 1 because you can only do this once.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I got you covered, Max.
Excellent. And then across the bottom here, so this week is mechanical warfare, right? So you put in tabs for each of the types of conquest because the objectives are different every week. How many do you have in here so far? 3.
So far, I think there are 7 or 8. There's 15 Conquest weeks total, so I'm just working my way through.
Excellent. All right, so let's talk
And
about that
so
for a
that
second.
covers all the way through to sort of mid-July at the moment is in there.
And you know, as Conquest changed, I know you did a bunch of work to get all the updates in there as Conquest was changing, sort of on the fly, and make sure all of the updated math was being updated. And then you said at some point, which I'd like to hear a little bit more about, you parse some of this data out of data files that you grab, and you even wrote some Python scripts to do some of that parsing to make sure that you've got the most accurate data as each new conquest pops each week. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so on Tor Community, the website, someone has pulled from the in-game files all of the Conquest information and uploaded it as an XML file. So I just wrote a Python script to scrape that XML, put it into a CSV file, and then use some Excel formulas to format it in a way that is useful for this spreadsheet. And that's as simple as it is. It's pretty straightforward, but it just means that all 15 weeks go in really quickly, and the only thing I have to do is kind of just copy paste and check everything.
You know, pretty straightforward. Grabbing data scripts, writing Python scripts to import that data into an automated spreadsheet tool that does all of the math and calculations for you. You know, just pretty straightforward. So
we Australians are a humble people.
At least it's making it, because you've updated it a few times now as the data has changed. It's made it so that it's way more maintainable than if you had been like copy pasting each item.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It was definitely in my interest to automate it.
So
how do we stop this genocide?
Where do your spreadsheet and Python scripting skills come from, Zen? Do you do this thing for real life type of
Yeah,
work?
I work in data analysis, so I spend a lot of time coding.
Excellent.
But a lot of it is just self-taught. It's, like you said, a lot of people in our guild are spreadsheet kind of people.
They are, myself included. Everybody knows that I've got multiple spreadsheets for every game that I play, and it's a thing I do at work as well. I still write code. I got my start as a software developer back in the day. C, C#, C++. I did a lot of C++ code back in the day. I haven't written any Python stuff lately. I don't have to code as much anymore. So this, even though I still have, I wrote an app over the summer that does some, uses the AI APIs and a bunch of stuff. I guess I should pick up Python because it's a skill that seems to be bandied about quite a bit. Can't be too hard though, right? How's Python?
If you can, no, it's pretty easy to learn. It's one of the reasons I think a lot of people have adopted it.
Yeah, okay.
If you can code in something like SQL, then I'm sure you pick it up pretty quickly.
These droids, oh, they're going down pretty quick. So they shield. So we're up to this part where we have to wait for the shields to drop. Otherwise, I think they'd be dead already. So this Directive 7 is, it's about droids that are rebelling, pretty much, right? Yeah, they're seeking their own freedom and creating a society, or trying to create a society, but there's some nefarious elements to it that are weirding us out. I think that's where we're at right now. Like a kind of kill all humans vibe to what's going on.
Wouldn't it be cool if there was a chance that your GSI droid turned against you during this flashback?
That would be cool.
Yes.
Okay, so here's a side detour, but I've been reading and Seema has been reading as well, a goofy lit RPG book called, is it Awaken or Ascend? I keep getting those two mixed up.
Ascend.
They're both Ascend. So Ascend Online. And one of the early things that happens in Ascend Online there, so it's a story about somebody playing a game, right? And it's like an immersive AI, fully immersive. So your brain is
Fully
in the game.
VR, yeah.
But something happens where the game creates the guy gets into a battle in the woods, fights a puma, and he loses to this puma early on, and the game decides for various reasons that this puma is now a quote unquote nemesis. And the nemesis then gains power and levels every time it kills you and is compelled to seek you out and find you in the game and jump you at inopportune moments and things like that. So what you just said here is, well, what if your GSI droid, turned on you at some point, had some chance to do that? That sort of gets to that concept where, what if as you were playing this content, you had some sort of nemesis? Maybe there's like a hunter-killer droid that followed you around, and every once in a while it would catch up with you, no matter where you were in the middle of an operation, in a flashpoint, doing PvE. I guess you wouldn't want to spoil someone else's operation. You're working on hard mode progression, but I would love to have an option to have that kind of
Yes.
random element thrown in. So I'm out there doing
Right.
my dailies and just always in the back of my mind, wondering if the hunter-killer droid's going to show up and I'm going to have to fight it.
And he would be bigger than he was last time, and he would have some like additional abilities.
And I'd want to bring Seema on dailies until he showed up again so she could heal me and I could kill him because I'm afraid.
Wait, heal you? What?
Yeah. Not if I yell out that I'm clamped. Then Seema won't heal me.
I mean, you could remove that yourself, but oh well.
I've got only one ability that does, and it goes on cooldown.
So does mine. Exact
Well.
same amount of cooldown.
Well, I got clamped like 6 times during that first fight. So determination with a 2-minute cooldown was not helping me.
No,
Anyway.
Cure. Cure should do it.
No, cure's disabled while I'm in clamp. Yeah, I cannot cure myself while I'm clamped.
I did not know that.
Oh, so
I thought you just couldn't move.
now I'm like all my abilities are shut off except determination. My bars are
Gotcha.
disabled. So now you'll unclamp me.
No.
No, negative Ghost Rider. Anyway,
I mean,
yes,
we had
that's
tanks
like,
dying, so no.
yes, no, I agree. Heal the tanks. The clamp doesn't even last that long. So anyway, yes, spreadsheet. Oh, here we can watch this last scene. This is why these Directive 7 guys need to be put down. They've grabbed this guy and wired up his brain into their collective so that they could talk through his mouth. This is actually sort of disturbing.
What happened to you?
I was.
It's actually kind of very disturbing.
Now, what are you doing out of stasis? You're not supposed to.
It's kind of like the droid version of the Rakghoul
You again.
plague.
This
Kinda,
could be
yeah.
Your future, I tested every correction available, but my
There's
experiments
a-
proved that your kind cannot be repaired.
There's a sci-fi author called China
Extermination is the
Mieville.
only option.
China Mayville, and he's got a book where this kind of thing happens. Let this man go.
Maybe you aren't keeping score, but I've left a lot of scrap behind me.
Oh, look at
course.
Seema.
Your kind lives
Talking
to
smack.
kill, while my fellow revolutionaries exist purely for peace and reason. You're nothing more than a pack of hateful, irrational beasts. Violence and anger are all you know. Observe.
Okay, now we get to... What do you mean observe? You're the one shooting me. So we're doing this on story mode, which we probably should have done it on veteran, I guess. Because not only do we have the 3 of us who are fully geared, and your companion, a level 50 Shea Vizsla,
I know.
and 3 combat support droids. So we have like 7 super characters in here doing the lowest possible level of Flashpoint.
Right.
We could do
Right.
nothing. All 3 of us could do nothing, and all of this would just lay down and die before us. Sheamus doing death from above on everything, and yeah, this is pretty
I've
hilarious.
done that before out when I'm out doing like the heroic planetary stuff. Is I just send Shay Vizsla in, and then I go and like farm a node or
Yeah. Go take Shay. Could you just go take care of that? That'd be great.
right. And if there's any left standing when I'm done, I might, you know, do my own death from above.
One thing I do to try to make the flashpoints more challenging with the GSI droid on my tank is I try to make sure that I keep aggro on the bosses, because they try to take it from you all the time. So it's actually quite
Oh, that's a great idea.
yeah,
It's like a mini game.
right.
Or it's training to be a good tank. That's actually really good idea. So there, yeah, I'd recommend that if anyone wants to try out what tanking is like. Yeah, get a companion and set it to tank so it's taunting off of you, or this GSI droid especially, who will taunt off you constantly, and work to maintain aggro. Work to keep the droids at the boss's back, or the mob's back, so they're not taking any imaginary cleaves or anything like that. That's great tank training. All right, back to Conquest. I had a couple more questions. So we're going after medium target. We were debating even this week, just because things are going to be tougher, before we talked to you, BC, about whether we should do small target or medium target. My view so far is that medium target, while it might be a stretch some weeks, the upside to making it is much more than the loss of like the small target rewards if we don't make it. That I think we should be on our main faction going after medium every week from here on. What are your thoughts on that? And have you seen any weeks where it's would really be impossible to go after medium, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think we can make medium on most weeks. And like you said, now that they've increased the rewards so that you get charged matter transubstantiators, it's probably worth missing a week every now and then, just rather than being in a situation where you end up making 550k and getting the medium yield, but you just selected low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And most weeks, as long as you have a guild that is large enough, you're usually going to be able to make medium. I mean, last week, for example, we had 28 different legacies that had at least one toon that made goal. 12 of those got 2+. So this week, as long as we still have a similar rate of participation and we don't sort of spread it out too much, like we do 50-50 Republic Empire, then it might make it hard. If we focus a bit more on the imp side and we have similar participation level, we should be able to make 550k. So yeah, I agree with you, Max. I think most weeks we can probably make medium. And there's no week where there's sort of no path to goal. It's just they're encouraging you to try a wider range of activities. Like there's one Conquest week, Clash in Hyperspace is now GSF. So everyone can do some GSF.
Yeah. Which isn't the most fun thing for some people, but we can, maybe we can talk about how to make that a little bit more fun, or maybe do it on an MFN night. For people that aren't totally familiar with charged matter transubstantiators, that's the crafting mat that's used to make both the 246 and 248 brand new augments. They're right now, and they might start coming down in price because now there's going to be a whole bunch of them available in the market. But as of this morning, they were about 2.2 million each per charged matter transubstantiators, and I think you get 1 per tune to target on medium and 2 on large. So that is a significant reward. So yes, they may come down in price. They may quickly drop to maybe about 1 million credits worth each. But I would imagine for a while they'll still stay relatively expensive because people are going to be filling out 14 augments on their characters for a little while, and they're quite pricey. So that's a pretty substantial reward to go after medium versus if you go after small and you make a small target, the guild reward that you're getting is one flagship encryption, which sells for what, a couple hundred K, and then a token worth 50K credits. Are we going the right way? Yes. So it's the trade-off, as you said. I think it's perfectly fine to miss some medium targets and still try for them, versus trying to be too safe and playing it safe and going after small targets is there's just not any very much upside in comparison.
The only thing I would say about that is just a message to people in general is that if you want to take a week off from Conquest,
Yeah.
do it, because if you don't feel like doing it and you do it anyway, then it quickly becomes a grind. So
Yes.
Yeah, I've made
you're
that point. I
absolutely
think
right.
that's a good point, that people shouldn't feel like they have to do it.
Yeah, that is a very good point, and we should reinforce that in Discord and Guild Chat this week and all future weeks. We certainly don't want to burn anybody out. This is, it's a little bit fun because it's new, but it is
right.
potentially effort, and
And
there's lots of
I'm
things
just
going
saying,
on. It's
if we
going to be a busy
decide
summer.
that we just, as a standard, always go for medium, then it's really up to the guildie himself or herself to take their own breaks, since we won't be
Yeah.
saying as a guild, okay, we're skipping.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. So maybe we'll set that expectation. While we may go for medium every single week, please feel free to take breaks and figure out when you want to go after the target for yourself and when you're not. Don't feel like you're beholden to you're going to let the guild down if you do it, because we certainly want everyone to play their own game and
I
have
might
fun
take a break on that GSF week you were talking about.
Yeah,
There
I'm
you go.
pretty sure that my fiance is going to make me take a break in the week after our wedding.
Which, for one, congratulations, and that's awesome. For two, yes, you certainly should take some breaks. For three, fiance should be in here playing with us before long. I would think that would be awesome.
She's studying.
Organics have reached the central process.
Well, sometimes you gotta blow off some steam even during study time.
Critical tasks must immediately
What is she studying? Anything fun?
Yeah, it's not her day job, but she's a personal trainer, so she's doing the
Oh, excellent.
official American Council of, I can't remember the acronym, but the acronym is ACE.
That's
So
excellent.
that she will be a qualified personal trainer.
I have one of those in my family. Did a lot of work to do that.
Yeah, it's
Very cool.
just sort of a hobby for her at the moment. But I play games. She keeps fit. So we all can tell who made the right life choices.
But yes, I'm pleased with Conquest overall. I'm pleased with the changes. I guess let's go around. Any sort of significant downside or disappointment or change or differences that either of you would like to see in Conquest that you're seeing at the moment?
I think
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Cindy.
I think the person who suffers from this, and I'm not talking about the big guilds or anything, but the person whose pattern is they don't play much during the week, but they want to sit down and have a marathon on Saturday or Sunday, that person, is going to be harder for them to make their Conquest target.
Yes.
Definitely. Probably my biggest concern is just the way that it's made it harder for alts generally. You used to, for example, next week is Deathmark. On Deathmark week, you used to be able to run every Narshada heroic each day on every toon. So if you wanted to play on the weekend, then that was fine. You could hit your goal on the weekend. But now you have to do one each day. So it's just not scalable in the same way, and it's not as forgiving of missing a day. So
Right.
yeah, I agree, Seymour. I think that's what I hope that they move to eventually is that they make the daily repeatables repeatable once per day per tune. I think that might help a little.
Yeah, I mean, when they first said they were going to have more daily activities, I said then, it's like, I think that's fantastic. I love the sound of that. I just hope it doesn't mean that you have to play daily. And
Yeah.
it kind of does.
It kind of does. And maybe it's not a lot, but even having to worry about logging in each day, you know, if you're trying to get a few characters, yeah, that's a little bit of a hit.
It is very brief. I mean, like it's one quest instead of like you said, BC. I used to do that too on Narshid. I log in and do all the heroic missions. Now you only have to do one of them, which literally can be like a 5-minute thing, or some of them are longer than that. But so it's not a lot, but some people just that's not their play style, that they log in every day.
The other thing I know for sure that is a downside for the way some people play is the Conquest guilds. So Sakik in particular has talked to us about this and told us there with the repeatable crafting in the past, one of the things even a smaller guild was able to do was do a lot of prep, bank a lot of materials, and and target a week that they could go after trying to win a planet, and potentially manage to do it, because even though they're smaller, they could do all of the planning and all the work to bank all these materials and get all ready and pre-build components and things like that. Now that's relatively close to impossible, except in very rare circumstances, and even then it's very hard. So with that in mind, the opportunity for our guild to potentially win a planet has gone way down compared to what it might have been in the past, even though we didn't win them in the past either. But yeah, I mean, there's enough upsides that yes, I get that that's a downside as well.
Yeah,
but that's certainly an impact.
To give people an idea, during crafting weeks, you used to be able to craft 7 invasion forces and hit your personal goal. Now it takes 50, and then it also requires more mats, 26 mats instead of 8. So
and those mats are all those different levels, which I find a pain. Yeah, it's a little bit rough. A quick aside. This is actually one of my favorite boss fights in the game. And when you're not super overpowered is a significant challenge of a fight. I used to really like this fight. So you're fighting this big sort of central processing core, and there's these side processing units, and then there's a big claw that comes out. You have to dodge the claw while you're trying to DPS down the processing units that start to overheat, until you get them all sort of offline, and then you're DPSing the mentor core, and I think there's another big droid that comes out that you're sort of fighting as you go along. This was a pretty cool little setup, especially for a Flashpoint. Okay, so let's start this fight, and then we can go back to Conquest talk and wrap that up. You guys ready?
Ready.
Boom. Okay, now he's shielded. Seema's been targeted by the claw. There's this. We can get that laser capacitor down. Another laser. Now we should be getting those core things should start overheating. Yes. Oh man, look at that big Master Guardian. So you got that?
Got that one.
Nice. So now that core is destroyed. What are these missiles? Ow. Do we shoot that big Guardian droid? I suppose so, right? I'll get this core. Oh, you got it? Okay, you got it.
I got it, yeah. You can't tell that I've done this flashpoint about 400 times, right?
I have not done it in a long time, so I'm sort of running around blindly, just shooting things, which that's pretty much what I do in every flashpoint and every every operation and
That's
every
pretty
boss
much what I
fight.
do too.
I haven't checked yet, but have either of you gotten a sense on our large guilds only doing large planets? I mean, I guess it's sort of hard to tell so far. I mean, they will get more rewards, but there's still also just the meta reward of winning planets to get the overall achievement and that kind of thing. I'm just wondering on when is the Total Galactic War Conquest objective coming up? It's in July, right?
Yeah, next comes up in July.
I'm just wondering if then there's even a chance for us to try to go after winning a planet. I guess we'll have to see.
One cool thing that they did do is make it all 19 planets that are in
Yeah, I
Conquest
saw that. Yeah, that's awesome.
included. Which is nice. It gives the smaller guilds just a little bit more of a chance to win a planet.
Okay, now we can DPS down Mentor the core. Boom! Oh, and I got
That deco.
a deco that I did not have. The Mentor processing core.
That's how long it's been. I haven't done this since they added
I
a
guess.
deco to it.
So now we have to
I
go
already
run
have
this-
2 of them, so if you want me to trade you it, I'm happy to do so.
No, I'm good.
No, it came as a mission reward.
Now we can run it 998 more times to max out that deco.
No.
You must make more room in your inventory. My inventory is full. Look at my inventory. This is ridiculous. I can't even loot the boss. Oh, now I just filled up another.
Yeah, I'll put a Revan droid out.
It's barely any junk. I had one piece of one slot was junk. You should see my inventory. Well, look here. I've got like a control module for every boss in Gods from the Machine are sitting in my inventory. I have no idea why they're all in my inventory. I have a Life Day surprise. Oh, this is the. I cannot sell. I'm not trying to sell it. That's the present where you go in the box. See? What's in the box? What's in the box? It's a me.
What's in the box? It's you.
All right, let's go to my stronghold. I'll invite you there. We can put this processing core unit out there, and we can wrap up for the day. So yeah, anything else that you wanted to sort of say about Conquest to wrap it up, Zen? Did we cover all the high points? Cool spreadsheet,
Yeah.
cool targets, fun times.
Yeah, I think so. I suppose it's worth calling out as well that everyone gets their rewards and doesn't have to submit a customer service ticket, which is nice too. It sort of hasn't been talked about that much, but one of the great things about the revamp is just that they fixed the back end and it all seems to work pretty smoothly. They patched on a Thursday and it didn't do anything to Conquest. So that's definitely a nice feature now.
That is
You're
a good
right.
point. I thought for a second that I didn't get my rewards today on SEMA, this merc right here. But then I looked at my inventory. I'm like, oh yeah, I did get them. I just forgot already.
Yeah, I was worried as well, but I logged in at like 11 a.m., which is before the reset time.
Right.
I still think that's a little bit weird. Why is the reset time 1 p.m. Central?
I don't know why they changed it, but it's been a while. It's been that way for a while.
I think they changed it to try to avoid it falling at the same time as patching.
So that
When Conquest kept resetting and not giving people their rewards, they
okay.
decided to make it a different time in the hope that that would fix the problem.
Got it. What is?
I also forgot. I mean, there's that goofy bug. I don't know if there is one. I don't know if it's still here because there wasn't any. I didn't see it happen, but the one where you sort of instantly get credit for killing world bosses, whether you killed them or not. And I forgot about that and willy-nilly logged in. And I've been trying to remind myself to log in the correct character that I would want that credit on if the bug was still there, but I totally forgot about it again.
Yeah. Well, that's one bug that still exists, and maybe that's part of 5.9a. Another bug that still exists is the problem of Dark Project, where Tetsumi noticed that if you have a Dark Project in your legacy storage and you transfer it to your inventory, it counts as a crafting of a Dark Project, which that's broken. So yeah, there's still, while the main bug of not getting the rewards is fixed, and that's really good, some of those other bugs are not, and it would be nice for those to get fixed as well along the way. So here's my...
Yes, that's true. All the bug or all the behaviors around when things reset, I'm not sure which things are intended and which things are not, but it would be nice if that was nice when that gets all cleaned up.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's my central processing unit. I thought we were going to get the giant mentor thing, but this is still pretty cool, and I like that it's animated. I like animated decorations, so I wouldn't mind like a wall of these. So maybe we will have to go run it a bunch more times.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, this was pretty fun. To get in there and see Directive 7 again. Oh, did we get conquest points for it along the way? How many conquest points am I up to for that? So that I got 2,500 for running that. Does that sound right? Probably. Directive 7, I got 1,500 for that, and I got another 1,000 for killing 50 mobs on Iocath so far today. A little bit of a start into my conquest targets for the week. I'll have to fire up the spreadsheet and figure out where I need to invest some more time on my couple characters that I'll push to target this week. And I certainly have some good resources to do that. If you all out there would like to see that spreadsheet, it is in our guild Discord, which is easy enough to get to and get an invite to. It's relatively open, so please come hang out with us. Check it; it's pinned in the SWTOR Discord channel. And while you're there, why don't you to jump in the guild and get a guild invite and put an application in the guild tool and see all the fun stuff going on across our greater guild, aie-guild.org. That would be really cool too. So with that, I think we will wrap up this week. EPC 242 is ready to get kicked out in airlock so he can broadcast this podcast. We want to certainly say thank you to Brendan Kavanaugh at Brendan Kavanaugh on Twitter. Thanks, BC, for coming on, and thanks for all your work on the spreadsheet. That has been very cool.
Thanks for having me. It's been a lot of fun working with everyone in the guild and planning ahead and then hitting the medium goal. Been having a lot of fun.
And we'll continue that this week. And for Seema and I, you can find us on Twitter at MaxTheGray and at AIESeema. And as we said, if you know cool people out there that should be listening to our show, you can find it on YouTube or live here on Twitch, usually on Tuesday nights. And come find us on Starforge or aie-guild.org or our guild Discord, and we will get you an invite to the guild. And with that, we will talk to you soon.
Good night, everyone.